Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast. My name is Sarah and this is Daniel.
Hello.
Hello. Today we have Chandler with us.
Hello.
But he's going to be interviewing us so that we are technically the guests of today's podcast.
How the turntables.
Turntables.
They are turned.
The Film Garage 208 podcast.
Yes.
We're being interviewed today.
Yep.
We are.
Hosted by Chandler Dye.
Hosted by Chandler Dye.
Yes.
We thought it was probably a good time for people to know about us and show our own credibility and just know what we can do.
Because it's been a year since you guys opened.
We did the Who Are We at the very beginning of this podcast like 3-4 months ago. And I feel like we missed a lot. So
we missed a lot. It was short, a little cringe.
So we're going to get into
first time we've ever podcasted.
the deep, dark secrets.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
It comes up. But before we start, we do need to cover a couple things because a lot of people think we get paid to do this podcast. But we don't. This is absolutely free.
We are losing money to do this podcast.
Yes. We don't charge people to come on.
Out of the goodness of your heart.
Yes. We do this because we wanted to build a community of people that could be like-minded and motivated by the same kinds of things.
Love it.
So that's why we do it. So for anyone that thinks we get paid to do this, it's absolutely just all on our dime, all for free. Knowing that, we are accepting sponsors.
Yes. Whoever that may be.
Yeah.
So if that intrigues you, reach out to us.
Yeah. If you feel like you'd want to be a sponsor for this podcast and get mentioned, let us know.
Chandler Dye stamp of approval. I'd sponsor. I will. I'll sponsor an episode.
Do it then.
As long as I get to come on again. I'll sponsor it so I can talk. I like to hear myself talk sometimes.
Give me $20 and you can stay on the podcast.
Okay, perfect. I'll Venmo you later.
Great, thank you.
That's why I'm actually hosting this, because I'm paying them right now to let me host this. So
right.
Love
$20 richer today, I guess.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay, so Chandler, start interviewing us.
Okay.
We gave Chandler the questions that we normally ask. So he's going to ask them, but in his own way.
To the best of my ability.
Because he's the host, so he gets to judge.
This is my show now. Yeah. So anyway, so Film Garage 208. How'd you guys get started? What was the inspiration behind it?
Take it away.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the inspiration for Film Garage, there's so much inspiration. Well, when we moved here to Idaho in October of 2022, we've only been here a little over a year, we knew coming here that we wanted to open a studio. We had used studios in Hawaii a few times, and they were just so eye-opening of what you could do, because we had been doing music videos, like photo shoots.
I love that.
Stuff in Hawaii, and having a place inside that was like a good, safe location that you could rely on.
Because it gets dark in Hawaii pretty early.
Yeah,
so
but then also
It's
when
dark
you're
at like 5 or 6,
you can only do so many beach shoots, and you can only do so many going to these places.
You're like, great, this is our 80th thing we have filmed on this beach.
And it's like we have all of this gear, so we would have to like lug it all onto the beach, back and forth, these places. So it was just nice once we realized that studios existed.
Yeah.
And specifically, we had used one with a cyclorama wall. You had used some that didn't even have a cyclorama wall. It's kind of just like a bigger warehouse open type space. And it was just eye-opening that we could just use that. And the ones that you were using in the end, they actually supplied like stands and lights and things. And that really mattered a lot to us because we had been carrying ours around forever.
Right.
And we were like, wow, now we don't have to carry our stands into this place. And they actually have all the stuff for us.
And that was always the worst part of it there because going to a beach, it's not an easy walk. And when you're carrying all of
I
this
can barely
stuff,
carry myself on a beach, so let alone.
Literally.
Then, in any city too, like there's always a high amount of theft. So you can't leave anything in the car because then it risks,
Huge
car being
theft
broken
in
into.
Hawaii.
And then even when you're on a set, people walk by and it's just, you're always kind of on guard.
Steal this camera.
No, there's literally multiple
upon it.
times where we saw things like kind of happening. Like honestly, I would be there just kind of like on guard watching. And a couple of times we were like, pack up and go. We got to go right now because people will be coming.
There's like one time we were up at Diamond Head, which is kind of a known area for people that go up at night in their cars and stay up there. Well, it wasn't Diamond Head. It was Tantalus Lookout. And it's kind of known for being like a really high theft area. And this one morning we had the Red camera and just a good amount of gear on a tripod. And just doing it. I think I was doing a time lapse.
You wanted to get like a sunrise time lapse.
And it was going great. And then this van pulls up and there's 100 yards where they could have parked on the side, and they parked 10 feet in front of us.
No, like right behind us.
And they, not judging, but they looked like
they were watching.
You stereotyped them. That's what I mean.
I absolutely stereotyped them. But I think I was right because the second they pull up, they're both looking in their side mirrors, like looking back at us, and didn't look away, like they were watching for sure.
You're like, let's grab the camera.
No, literally, I was like, Dan, get in the car right now. Let's go.
I didn't even take anything apart. I just like closed the tripod. The camera was still running. We just put it all in the car sideways, and then
make like a tree and get out.
And I think it was the right call. Like
100%.
Because that wasn't the first time that we had that feeling. I mean, there was a time I was flying a drone and a guy was coming up to me, absolutely trying to.
They're all houseless
to
people.
steal it, and they're unhoused. So
love that.
They had nothing to lose, and
a little bit of drug use.
A little bit.
So then you're like, okay, so we have all this theft and drugs. Let's move to Idaho Falls, right?
So that was where
there's people on Broadway.
Yeah.
By the Kingston
No, it's
Plaza.
so minimal here compared to what we are used to. Oh my gosh, it's just
People
literally nothing.
Leave their car unlocked here all the time. Not me. I'm like,
right.
You ghetto teenagers, stay away from my car.
But yeah, so all of those experiences, and then
when we did use the studio, it was just like a weight lifted because you could actually film and focus on what was happening and not be thinking about everything being stolen or just rain, or because in Hawaii the weather changes on a dime. It's just a lot of like variables.
Yeah, and then what brought us to Idaho was that we had our child in June. Then it was like, okay, we need to make big life change. Ever. She is the cutest child ever.
May I know?
Yeah. And so before then, we had been working our 9 to 5, but there in Hawaii, it's like it's 24/7.
Right.
Like you have an hour commute there and back. You're there at work for 10 hours. So it's like we're gone for 12 hours a day. We're not going to be subjecting our child to that life.
Right.
And we didn't love it. Like our full-time job. We were hustling on the side doing our video career.
It's really expensive to live in Hawaii.
Which makes it tough if you don't like the job you're in to like transition to something because it's a big risk. And
you're like, we may lose our house.
Literally. Literally. It's like so I can't pay rent.
Yeah.
It was kind of like once you got in somewhere you had to kind of stay. I mean, unless you just had an amazing opportunity, but.
And Hawaii, it was harder there for us because we're transplants. We're on our own. Whereas like coworkers, they had like their whole families there. They're living at home. They have support. And it's like they didn't have to pay rent, some of them. And our lives were polar opposites of what we were experiencing.
We are working to survive.
Literally. And so it was just.
I bet like a huge stress reliever.
Yeah. It was a great feeling to be able to come here and get to enjoy our lives and enjoy our time with our child, but then also focus on our career and our passions and what we like have been dedicating to ourselves the last 6 years. Because we had been working on this for the last 6 years when we were in Hawaii.
Right. So, okay. So then you moved here in October of 2022.
Yep.
Film Garage opened up January of 2023.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Because that's when I met you guys.
Yep.
Back in the beginning.
Yeah. We got here and we had all these big, grand, glorious ideas in mind of being like, we want a warehouse. We want all this space. We want all these things.
And coming from Hawaii, I just figured that, like from our experience when we did live here,
things were cheaper when we
used
to live here.
It's going to be
in
easy.
the last 3 years.
Pre-2020.
Like in my head, a warehouse was something that there would be like an endless option.
You're like, it's $400 a month to rent.
Literally. And then we get here and they're all rented out and it's expensive.
Yep.
So it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because we went through a couple months. We took like a month off a month off to just like relax, acclimate.
Decompress.
Yeah.
That lasted like 2 weeks before we started.
No, we were so eager to
we said a month.
Get going. Yeah. But it was almost like a month though because we just couldn't find a space.
Right.
We had been looking at certain warehouses and like thankfully none of that worked out. Because
making sure you find the right space that will fit work for you.
Well, just literally nothing was available.
There was one warehouse, but it didn't have a bathroom.
Right.
And if you're going to rent this out, the only bathroom, it was basically like a community porta potty in the middle of this complex.
Just
so
you need a bathroom.
Literally. So it was like, that's
the
not
porta potty
happening.
that 800 people use. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a little full.
And that's like really important for this if people are changing and getting ready and just accessibility. So that just wasn't a thing. And then we were getting pretty defeated. I was at least getting really defeated with the lack of options.
Yeah.
And then randomly Dan pulls up a Craigslist ad for this room.
Craigslist
and
coming
then
in clutch.
think I cried even harder because I was like, are you kidding me?
You're like,
I was, yeah.
The 2nd Street office complex.
No, and then we come in here and I think Dan even has a video of like panning around the room, like when it was before what we even did to it. And my face is like so
You're
upset.
Like, this is our dream.
I was so upset.
Is this really what we want?
So
and it doesn't even match.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a bummer.
But like I said, it was just a blessing in disguise for just like the amount of rent. And like if we had gotten a big ass warehouse, we would be drowning in warehouse rent. Like that's just not feasible.
Right. Because your costs and everything.
Yeah. And that's like, actually,
we're bringing in enough to.
We wouldn't have been able to put money back into the business, which is what we've been able to do by having a smaller space. So that's allowed us to get the gear that we need
to grow and
just
say
grow
we have
constantly.
this and we have the ability
so
to.
Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Where it would have absolutely not happened if we would have had a warehouse. We would have been sitting in the middle of an empty warehouse with the minimal gear we started with. And
you're like, here's this light we got off of Amazon.
Yeah.
A cheap ass light.
Shoot.
But
now pay me $100 to use this room.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing too at first, because we priced this at $100 an hour. And at that price, even then the warehouse was like iffy on making it work. The numbers just didn't add up.
Like if we're booking 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we have to educate people here on like what it even is.
Yeah.
Because it's there's nothing like it in the area.
And even in Hawaii, I remember when we first used one, we're told about, like, it was one of my buddies that we were shooting a music video for, and he said, I have a studio we can use. Like, I had no idea what to expect.
Like, is this a movie studio or is this like...
Because there is big productions. There's
ghetto.
huge productions in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
Hawaii
we see
5-0.
it all around constantly. Like even in our housing complex, we had Hawaii 5-0 shooting.
So when I hear studio, I'm like thinking like big money. Like I can't afford that.
Yeah.
You're like, great.
So that was $100 an hour or even more, $100 an hour.
Like $100 an hour.
And they were sticklers. They would like prorate you like for every minute you were in there.
And they did not help you.
And they did not help you. They were literally like, good luck. Don't get the wall messed up.
You're like, cool, thanks.
And then we're just like, well.
So we're going to be scared our whole shoot and be flustered.
Yeah. And then we like also were just like, okay.
I've scuffed up that wall a couple times and I've never got charged for it. So.
Oh, lucky you.
So I'm glad. Okay. So you found your office space.
Yes.
And you walked in and you're like, yep, this is it.
This is going to have to be it.
This is going to have to be it.
Yep.
Because I don't know. I'm not one that can like walk in a room and be like, yep, I can see it now. I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to have to gut this whole room.
Literally, you had that room over there and you had all these plans. I'm like, boy.
Yeah. And then I was like, nope, not worth it.
No.
Not worth it.
No.
But it looks seriously amazing in the studio.
Thank you. We did a lot of work. So like the psych wall, that was our biggest, like it had to have
and it's
a
amazing.
psych wall.
You can use it for anything.
Literally.
It's my favorite thing.
The hardest part was figuring out where to put it and like the size, because initially we wanted a smaller one, so we had more room here, but then a lot of factors. But basically like we settled on this, and then
and we knew we wanted it to be a corner.
That's all we
psych
knew we
wall
wanted.
To make it
So,
and you built it yourself. You did not have it hired out.
no, we built it all ourselves.
yep, we had one friend, Lalo. He came in and helped us with a little bit of the mudding of the wall.
Skimmed it a little bit.
Skimmed it a little
All
bit.
nice and smooth.
Yeah.
Because we did our first patch over it and it was okay, but he was like once you put it on the camera, you see every defect. So we needed a pro. So we brought him in and he like did a couple top layers.
Yeah, he's a drywaller.
And really just like,
I love it.
It was perfect.
It's smooth. It's so smooth.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me dizzy looking into it because you can't see the
you
corner.
get like vertigo in the corner.
Like, okay, so then you opened up January.
Yes.
How was business first going on? What did you do to get word out?
Oh boy, what did we do?
Instagram, social media.
Yeah.
But like mostly trying to do our own shoots.
Right.
I think we didn't have like a good grasp of like what we fully were yet.
You had to advertise what could happen in here.
Yeah, like
so you had to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Showcase.
It was more of, we knew we needed to educate people and then just try to stay like relevant and cool. But we knew the education piece was like the hardest.
Right.
Yeah. And it was definitely slower in the beginning too. Cause it's like, how do you find people? So that's how we even met you was like, do we do a TV ad, do something to just kind of get a little bit more attention. And so like we had done our own ad and we got some on the news.
We
local
made a 30-second ad.
Yeah. And then, like you said, we just did our own photo shoots. No, we never did radio.
Yeah, we didn't.
But it was definitely really slow and minimal in the beginning. I'm trying to think of what our turn was. We started doing just some more collaborating with like local influencers and like businesses.
I think family and friends were also really helpful at the beginning.
Family and friends.
Not so much for like paying. We definitely didn't charge what we charge now.
Right.
But they were very, very helpful in just being like our models and giving us a chance to show different things. And so like big shout out to anyone who helped us.
Love that.
Along the way, especially at the beginning, because that was huge. Like you're basically trying to sell yourself. And when you say I'm a photographer, a lot of people just don't know what to expect. You're either like,
and there's 1,000 photographers in town.
Well,
they kind of roll their eyes.
Photographer.
Yeah. You teach their own. But
so just I think showing our skills at the beginning was like the trickiest part.
That probably took a lot of artistic flair.
Yeah. So our client base that we had been normally working with was like creative, like doing music videos and like.
And there's not a lot of that in Idaho.
No, because we were at like a hub.
A teenager that wants to be a rap
even
artist.
To this day, we get messages like as if we're in Hawaii and they're like, hey, can I come shoot a video? And we're like, we're in Idaho now.
Well, you could be like, fly me out.
No, literally
fly me with my gear. I would come film that video.
Because that's how it would be is like they would just find us on social media and we would get a DM from
because you guys used a lot of Craigslist back in Hawaii. Is that what it?
It began on Craigslist.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be like offering cheap little shoots for tourists. Yeah. So we would always, it was always tourists that were coming through. So we would be meeting them at beaches or on hikes.
They'd just be like looking you up, like
they're
on vacation in Hawaii and they're like, I want a
cheap photo shoot off Craigslist, apparently.
So like, cool.
Yeah. And so we got a lot of practice with that.
Love that.
And then it evolved into, we had a coworker who was a DJ. And so he was in like the nightlife and all of that. And so Dan would go to his shows and get, some recap videos here and there.
That's what I definitely enjoyed at the beginning. When I bought my first kit camera and went in debt for it in Best Buy. I was like only shooting, the beach photos, and then videos were only like club events, which barely paid you, if that. It was more just for the exposure.
Yeah, exposure.
But that was a lot of fun. And then DJ Inspect met us, introduced us to Juju.
Yep, seen a couple of those music videos.
Yep, and then that just evolved from there. And then once we kind of got more attention with doing those music videos and whatnot, like we did a few jobs with like Surfrider, and it's like that, like Surfrider Foundation. So we did a few virtual concerts for them and like filming a few of those artists.
Love that.
And then that got us meeting like those more like local famous artists. So we started doing music videos for Tavana. And then it even grew to the point of like when Swayze came into town, Dan went and did a recap video and then ended up shooting a music video for Swayze. So
a lot of people might not know who he is now, but he was.
He was.
Super. I mean, his music's still really good.
You'll know one of his famous songs if you hear it.
For sure. Absolutely.
So it takes a lot of artistic flair though.
Oh, yeah.
For you to do that. Because you guys have to come up. I know I've used you guys a lot for, okay, so I have this idea, but I need help evolving on the idea.
Yeah.
So how do you guys use that? How do you come up with all your artistic ideas?
So we definitely get a lot of inspiration from social media, from other shoots, magazines you see.
Gotta get it.
Yeah. A lot of it is like, I mean, there's so many good people making cool stuff out there. So you see something and you're like, how can I just put my spin on this? Sure. I think that's probably where the inspiration usually starts, is I'll see a scene and think, how can we do this, or a photo shoot? Like, how can we do our version of it?
I think my favorite thing is a soccer ball camera. Still, I like, even though I wasn't involved with that shoot, I think that's still cool.
We get shit on TikTok for that one.
I know, but
the
it's
trolls.
Like, you're like, you create a camera that can move a soccer ball.
Creativity part, it was like, so these musicians or rappers that would reach out to us, they'd be like, I'm going to be there on Wednesday, and it's like Monday. And they're like, this is what I have. These are my options. So it was kind of learning what we could do
on the fly,
low budget, within their ideas. And so that was kind of a huge creativity part of it, where it was just making all the ends meet.
And I think you guys are really good at it, because honestly, like, I've had ideas for these commercials, and my commercials would not have been as good if it wasn't for like, okay, that's great, but we could do this with the camera or anything, and it makes them so much better. So I think it's really appreciated when you have that artistic flair.
I think we definitely went through a phase where we had these ideas wanting to do things and then not being able to execute it. And I think that's where it also helps, like the creativity at this point is just knowing how to get something. You can have like this, like, oh, I want to get that look. But if you don't physically know like where to put the camera or the light to make it happen, it's really discouraging. And we've had so many shoots where we try to do a look and it just doesn't work.
Looks like
and we
shit.
Scrap it and it's terrible.
That's not it.
And then, but I think those are the ones you learn the most from.
Literally.
And kind of stay inspired from, because it's like, how can I get better on it next time?
So I love that. I love that. Okay, so every business has its challenges, right?
Yeah.
So what have been some challenges? I know we've talked about a couple already, but like the biggest challenge about having your business here in Idaho Falls.
Let's see. The biggest challenge here. So initially we did the studio, and then we were trying to have like us as like photographers, videographers on the side. And we realized that was kind of hard to promote.
We actually started two businesses at first.
Yeah.
Because it was hype reels.
Yeah, because we were hype reels in Hawaii. So we were like, we want to bring hype reels back.
So they were two separate. You're like, we have hype reels, and then we have Film Garage 208.
And hype reels was going to be our production stuff.
Yeah.
And then Film Garage was just going to be studio.
Yeah.
But we quickly learned it was really hard to make that work.
Keeping both, because you're like,
it's just confusing. It's already confusing.
And they were like, but really they should be referring hype reels. Yeah.
Like it was just doesn't matter. So we were like, you know what? We'll just be like this one sector.
So we just were branding yourself as Film Garage.
So we just dissolved that business for hype reels, and that's no more.
Yeah. RIP.
Just a memory.
Yeah. So that challenge. And then, just educating people in the area on like what we can do, because it seems like this place, like we want to do business and like marketing type things. And around here, it seems like people don't put as much focus into their marketing and business outward appearance.
They're like, we filmed this on an Android phone.
It seems like a lot of like one-off plans and not like a cohesive plan. Like, what is my business going to look like over the course of this entire year, not just this next project?
A marketing plan in the end.
Right.
And so that was kind of hard, because it's a lot of people being like, oh no, like my grandson can do it, or like this and that. And I'm like,
all right,
I can see that, but can they?
Yeah.
But there's like a huge difference on making sure everything looks good.
Yeah.
Like if you have a great
brand.
product, but you have trashy marketing and it's not going to look good, that represents your product.
Just especially in 2024.
Oh yeah.
Like that outward appearance, like
everything's
that
about
matters
appearance.
A lot.
Social media is so heavily. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we're getting some transition around here now. Honestly, I think since we started the podcast.
I think it's because there's awareness being brought to it. Yeah. And when people actually start doing and using those, what's the word? I don't know, like resources.
Yeah.
It helps their business and their business grows.
It does. Like we've had a few good jobs where people like are working on products for their businesses. Yeah. And they came to us and they were like, I haven't been able to find this type of quality work without going to Boise or Salt Lake. And we're here, and they just didn't realize.
And then that starts with your loyalty with people. I know. I will only use you guys.
Oh, thank you.
You know, so
we're actually talking about that earlier. Like I truly wouldn't care if someone did use someone else, as long as the reasons were right and not just like.
I think it's just because I don't trust anyone else. Like I have just such a trust with you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a loyalty, you know, because you've never done me wrong.
Yeah. And so we're the type too, like if you don't like the expectation, like we will make sure we get this right.
Because I've sent you a message like, can we change the music on that? Or can we do this? And you're like, oh yeah, super easy.
Yeah.
It's just quick.
Even if it means like a whole reshoot, like it may mean we have to charge like a little bit more, but at the end of the day, like we'll make it work. So it's good for both of us that you get what you want.
Yeah. And you're really good at communicating. So
we feel like so.
Yeah,
so that's where we want others to have equal communication.
You're like,
you know,
Chandler, you still haven't sent us the script. We can't help you.
Pestering you.
I know. Well, that's what it is. Okay. So we have a lot of like the struggle of pricing.
Yep.
Every business does.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did you guys come up with your pricing? Like, how did you find the happy medium of like, it's not too expensive, but we're not losing money?
So we lost money for a while first.
Yes.
Lost a lot of money first.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the groove of.
It's because then it's just our understanding of like Hawaii, where we were doing the one-off projects.
Yeah.
We didn't know how that would translate here. So we did some market research when we got here and looked at like surrounding states and what they're charging. And then kind of did like our own math on what we felt would be okay for us. Which was lower at the beginning. It just had to be to get people
for our personal projects, not the studio is what you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The studio pricing was 100 first, just because that's what we knew. And then we changed it to 50 because we weren't getting a lot of.
Yeah. You're like,
bookings.
why? Yeah.
I think 100 is just a price point where it's just a little too high to experiment. Like if you don't know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing, $100 is a great value to come in and get all this stuff. But if you don't know what you're doing and can't use it all, it's like,
well, you think about
you
how
don't
much
realize the value.
All the lighting costs and everything. And
so much money.
I'm not going to go buy all the thousands and thousands of dollars for a shoot. Well,
so as far as the pricing though, so the studio, we had the expectations of what we used before, but obviously we have Hawaii prices stuck in our brain.
Right.
Expensive as shit. So we started with $100 and just wasn't feasible, especially when other local venues that are studio spaces, I guess, are charging like $30 an hour. So it's like, it just doesn't compare.
Right.
And especially, like you said, we're offering like thousands of dollars in lighting gear and equipment.
And there's really nothing
in the
area
and
that
it's
has
like
what you guys have.
just paying for the value per se of what you can add to your own personal business. Because it's like we're letting other people rent this space. And it's like, this can be a tool in your business now. And I'm going on a tangent.
I think anyone who's like, well, I think the thing too with the equipment is you buy one piece and it makes you need to buy 3 other things.
Right.
And that's kind of how it is when you start getting to like the upper level of equipment is just, it's never just a one thing you need. They piece it out and it's a set and things just get really expensive. So even if someone does want to go buy their own single light, there's just so many other things they need to get.
So now you have this light. Now how are you going to do lighting on this side? And
But then even then it's the sandbags, the lighting attachments. Like there's 1,000 different lighting attachments.
And I think that comes back to the educating people on, it's not just
which we're still working on.
Yeah.
I think you will be for
ever. I think it's a never ending
always
thing.
going to be like,
because we're always learning too. So it's,
and I think the hardest thing is when there's nothing like you, it's also a blessing, but a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
Because when you have competitors, everyone knows what you do, but you have to fight the competitors. When you don't have competitors, it's okay. Now we have to educate everyone on what we are.
Yeah.
Which is almost as hard. So now I get that.
And especially when they like are like, well, I've been using this other place for so long. It's just fine.
And I feel like Idaho's really loyal with their people.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like,
I've used the same barber for 30 years.
Which I think is cool.
Right.
I mean, you're supporting your friends and I think that's a good thing until it jeopardizes your own business.
Yeah, don't limit yourself.
We're not here to all be, I mean, we want to be friends with everyone, but we're not here to be, we don't get paid to be friends. And it's like, if you're doing something with someone that's jeopardizing what your actual returns are. If it's costing
you so much money and then you go in the hole, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
So I feel like.
And then let's see, pricing for ourselves.
Yes.
That was another transition. So like you said, we were a lot cheaper in the beginning. And then we've just been throughout this last year, we've raised our prices to like a good competitive price. That was like not selling ourselves short, but it was like, still you should book us, but we're not the cheapest in town still.
Which I bet there's a lot of work that goes in that most people don't see. It's
oh
not
my God, there's so much work.
It's not that you just come and you snap a couple pictures. It's the editing and making sure you get the pictures on a software probably that you can send people.
Just so many. Yeah, there's a lot of things. And then even with us, when we go do shoots out of here, like we have gear and equipment. Like we'll bring those. We're not just bringing a camera. Right. We have a bunch of other things we're bringing with us.
It's a big setup.
Yeah. And so that's other things
to
that
make sure
people
that you're
aren't
delivering
thinking
the
about.
highest quality of product.
Yeah.
Because they show us, the way we kind of work with our clients is they'll show us their inspiration video and we say, yeah, we can match that. but we can't just show up with the camera. To match that, you need all this other stuff.
That's a produced look.
Yeah. Like they'll say, oh, I want this. And then I'm like, well, do you realize that they probably spent 3 days filming that?
Yeah.
And I was like,
right? That was a $20,000 project.
And you're like, this was not an hour.
It's like those memes of, what the client's budget is and what they want. And like, it's very true. It's very true. Accurate.
The horse drawing where people are like, what we want.
Yes.
The budget.
I mean, 9 times out of 10 people walk into any set and they're like, wow, whoa, looking around. And just because they didn't realize like all the little things that go into it. I mean, even this podcast, like from the camera's angle, you don't see anything, but
there's a lot of lights around us in this room right now.
A lot of lights,
1,
cords
2, 3,
going
4,
everywhere.
5
Making sure
lights.
it's all hooked up.
But
but it makes us look good. So
So positively, at the end of this year, we've been getting so busy and so much traction, so many great people using us. We love everyone. Thank you so much for the support. But like, it's also us supporting their businesses. Right. Like we have a marketing background. And so we don't just do things willy-nilly. Like we have a plan and a thought and a why for why we want to do it.
Yeah.
And so we realize like that's valuable and we need to like raise our prices to accommodate that.
I think that's, one of the things like, because we think of that, there's a lot more on the planning side that goes into it with like every shoot that we do. Mm-hmm. So that's just an unseen fee that just has to be added in.
Yeah.
But it does make a big difference in the end. It makes the shoots go smoother. Yeah. The clients have a better time.
I always have a good time. I love it. So
it's like we try to think of all the problems that could happen and then try to do everything we can to make sure that they don't happen. And it's not easy. Yeah. Something always sneaks in there.
I know. Doesn't it always? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do kind of like a hot take collaboration.
All right.
Okay.
I want to know your top 3 people or themes you have collaborated with.
Top 3.
Top 3. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Collaborated with.
They don't have to be in any particular order so people don't get offended.
Well, we always have to give a shout out to Juju. We love Juju. We've done so much work with him.
Love that.
And he's awesome.
Give us one.
Juju, if you're looking for, I mean, he's got really good music now. He has like a lot of followers on Spotify. Look him up. He's there.
He was one of your first
JU.
Yeah, he was.
Projects.
Yeah, he was like, I need someone to make us videos. I know he was so sad when we left.
So he's an MC like full time.
Hey, like he should just come to Idaho and film.
I know, I've mentioned that so many times.
Like the snow background.
Literally.
Like, come on.
It'd be so different.
New music video, cycle, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Juju.
That's one.
That's Juju. Who else is
he was always fun to work with too because he brought a lot of ideas too. So collabing with him was fun because
full of ideas.
Yeah. A lot of the ideas started from him and then we would elevate it, then he would elevate it, and then it was just like
you guys played on each other. I always say it's like Legos.
Yeah.
Kind of when you do like choreography, you have co-choreographers and you just like, oh, that move was great, but I think you could add something.
Yeah.
I think it's like that.
And he was always able to like secure some cool locations because we always did this for like as cheap as we could. So he was great at like, schmoozing some people, talking to them, finding a cool place to go. And
you get us the place, we can make a great
we're
video.
like, we'll do this deal with you. If you get a spot,
especially because in Hawaii, unless you went out into nature, it was hard to find a location. Like you couldn't just go to a parking lot. Like it was always busy and it's just
security
different.
chases you out.
Yeah. You actually had to have permits there if you were in somewhere like that was.
They cared about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the sea turtles.
Well, just permits like where it'd be like, you can't film here. Like
because the sea turtles.
Yeah, because the sea turtles and the
they don't want to be on
the
film.
Seals. Yeah, don't touch the dolphins.
Trying to think of another collaboration.
Here or in Hawaii?
I think
anywhere.
Either. I think anything that has like elevated your business.
I think like maybe for me, one thing I think was pretty eye-opening was when we worked with Surfrider Foundation. They did a live stream concert online, so we had to live stream them talking and be able to cut back to
all the
pre-recorded clips of the guests in a smooth way, which we had never done before, but we were like, yep, we could do it.
Like, yes.
So we did all the prep and we had everything we needed and it actually went really well.
Yeah, it went great.
But it just opened my eyes to like the professionalism you need to have when communicating with that many people.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when they're musicians who actually get paid and do this full time. Like they don't want to deal with someone who's like,
to do this.
Yeah, you had to be like ready, not waste their time.
Ready to go.
And I think because it was just so many different people in different places, it was like I don't know, it wasn't really a collaboration, I guess, but for me, I felt like it kind of just like opened my eyes a little bit to working with other people.
You're collaborating
Yeah.
Working on it.
Who else?
We've done a few when we were here. Like at the beginning, anyone that would reach out with a collaboration to give away like a free shoot.
Like those little
we
things,
would
like
offer
giveaways.
those. But we felt like the problem with that was the people that followed us from those would unfollow us after, or they just weren't true fans. They were just there for the freebies.
They were there like, we're going to follow you in 4 months when we're cleaning out our followers. We're going to follow you.
Yeah.
Like offer free stuff. You get
free people.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
No, and that's like another big thing that we've learned on the opposite end of like, maybe we don't like these freebie giveaways, one-offs, like with other people at least, because they're not genuine supporters.
Right. It's the people that are already following you and are eager and ready.
I think by far most exciting, I guess we can call it a collaboration because we had sponsors, was the Halloween contest this year. That was like,
that was fun.
By
that
far,
was so fun.
Just like the most fun thing we did and the most community involved thing that we did. And
people are excited about it.
Yes.
Next year.
Yeah. People have been talking about it this year. So we need sponsors for that.
Yes.
So
if you are interested in being a sponsor for the film contest for this year, Halloween.
And I just want to know, a lot of people were involved with that. Like a lot of video submissions.
23
so
entries.
many people submit. It was
and that was
amazing.
more than I thought.
We didn't even know.
And people
I was thinking 7 or 8. That's what I was thinking.
We were like,
do.
I was
we can
thinking
get like
2.
You're like, this is going to be like,
And then
you're like 23. You're like, well, we got to set aside a day and watch these.
Because everyone waited until like midnight to turn them in.
Welcome
which
to Idaho.
I was like, okay.
I think they didn't want people stealing their ideas, which I can respect.
And I didn't think about that, I guess. But it was
Nurse's
a great
Mercy still
shock.
on top, in my opinion.
Nobody watched that. So that was just really cool seeing like all of them flood in. And then it's really cool to this day, like so many people that we talk to, just like random people are like, hey, we sat down and we watched all of those. Like many people said that they took the time and sat down and watched all the videos. And it's cool though. We need to go look at the stats now because they were at like 70 to 100 plus views.
I know,
just
they
at
were
the initial, like people were watching.
And some of those people that submitted their videos because they had to post it on their own YouTube page, some of them are like 15,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, and
they popped off.
I think the coolest part that made me the most excited was afterwards we noticed, I can't remember, it was Dallin, the guy who
Dallin won.
And there was someone else that submitted a video. It was really, really good. It came in like second or third. But they work together now doing, I don't know if they work, but they've been making videos now and projects together.
Collaborating together.
I love that.
So
I just think
like
it's really cool to
bringing
see.
the film community
they did
together.
So we actually got a few, like they've reached out and been like, thank you so much, because we didn't realize that there was so much talent and other people doing this around here.
And I think often we think, it's Idaho.
Yeah.
You can't make projects like that here.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you got to go to California.
Yeah.
Which I think it's kind of cool that it's starting here in Southeast Idaho, that we're doing projects
like
like
give people a place to like be
Show their
creative and do
talents.
these
Because there are
things.
so many talented people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't wait to see what we get this year.
Yeah. We want it to be way bigger this year. We're planning on having like an in-person get together viewing party. That way all of these creatives can
be
like
so fun.
actually mingle and talk, and like, it'll be so fun. Hopefully more prizes, sponsors.
Yeah.
Hopefully more
We'll work on getting
bigger,
that.
better. But this year we think it'll be super, super cool.
Yeah.
But I seriously loved it.
Yeah.
Even though, like, even filming it was fun.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, we spent like 3 hours to film that whole thing. And
I just want to
knocked
know
it
that
out.
I was the stunt driver in
He
Nurse's
scammed
Mercy.
me because he was supposed to be in it. And I did not want to be in it.
That was so
And
funny.
then conveniently his part got cut, and then I was still forced to act.
I was like,
when Chandler should have been
shoot.
the nurse.
Oh, no.
We've done plenty of fight scenes, though. You've had experience.
And then we're like, okay, Ian, this is Sarah. Sarah, this is Ian.
Okay, that's a fun one. The fight scenes. So one of our big first music videos we did, it was literally 2 or 3 days of shooting after work. We'd be working till 6
Is that
o'clock.
the army one?
Yes.
Box out.
Box
Yeah,
out.
box out,
So
yeah.
that had like Alex, Jamar, Wello, Juju, and Armani.
Yep.
And then all of these extras, so many extras. And then it was it was like the war dog place. So like they would train police officers and military people there. So it was like a legit actual like military
buildings.
setup.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that music
It's
video.
like a long, like 5-minute.
I got to pause right there
Story.
though, before you tell more about it. The way we get these ideas is people just send us their song. And that was the first It's like a second one we did maybe. It's a 6.5 minute song. I was like, how do I make?
You're like, this is Bohemian Rhapsody,
and it's like fast rapping the whole time. I was like, what do I do for 6.5 minutes? Like for a video. And
good song. It's like catches. So Juju and them like definitely had the idea for like making it a fight and kind of battle,
which I love
scene.
Because filming it was so fun.
It was really fun. Good experiences. So that was probably another good collaboration because so many people were in on that.
And it was fun because the military guys we were doing fight scenes and they were like, no, this is what you would do in real life.
They made it sure it was accurate.
Whenever someone was killed,
you're like, roundhouse kick him, and they're like, that's not how it's done.
No, literally. They literally would stop and be like, this is not right. We're doing it again.
You're like, okay.
Cool. You're like, all right, I guess you're like all the people who know real fight scenes are gonna know we're not.
So they better watch that video and be like, that shit's legit, because it was legit.
That's my favorite.
A lot of effort went into the authenticity of that.
Did. Yeah. It did.
So like on that note, okay, so like sometimes it's hard balancing business operations and creativity.
Yeah.
Because sometimes creativity can be very expensive, but you're like, okay, this is still a business and we need to make money.
Yeah.
How do you guys balance that in your daily operations?
Yeah.
At the beginning, like in Hawaii, when we didn't have as much rentals because we couldn't afford to buy it. So you would.
Oh, like the gear you're talking about.
So there's a place in Hawaii called Sight and Sound, and they rent everything. I mean, they rent to like big Hollywood movies.
Big productions.
Whenever we'd rent from them, they were just like, it was like nothing to them. It's like drop in the bucket.
They're like, okay, you can have that.
Yeah.
They're like $20.
Yeah. So we get to test out like lights.
It was still
expensive.
It was still expensive.
But not like the
but that's, I think,
Hollywood
like $100 for some lights.
But when you get those creative ideas where you knew you needed it and there was like no way to like.
There's no way around it.
It was, you just rent it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times we would split the cost with the musician, or they would cover it depending on how invested in the idea they were.
And you're like, how much do you like that?
But I guess kind of pivoting off of that and like managing everything was our job, our full-time job that we had been doing in Hawaii was I was a store manager at Hollister, and then Dan started working as he was in marketing. He worked at a marketing agency.
Yep. I worked at an agency for like a year.
Yeah. And then he ended up pivoting over to Abercrombie to be a store manager just for like our work-life balance because he was like at a steady 9 to 5. And in retail, my schedule was all over the place.
Right.
And so I would literally be having to go drop him off at work because we had one car in Hawaii. It's too expensive.
And even if you had a second car, you couldn't find parking.
No.
So it was like not even a thought.
No. Couldn't happen.
No.
So I would drop him off at work, come home, then I'd get ready, and then I'd go to work. And then on my lunch break, I'd have to go pick him up from work. He'd drop me back at home. And then, so we just...
It was always trying to when she was off work, like it was just a lot.
It was just too much. It was too much.
We did it for a year. And I think I stayed at that marketing agency even through like all that driving and difficulty just to like work there because it was beneficial. Like I learned a lot there that has led to what I do now.
Yeah.
Which helps assist in what you do.
All of everything, all of that experience by far goes into what we're doing now. So like even afterwards going and working at Abercrombie, like all of these other jobs and stuff like never would have happened because we wouldn't have met those people.
Right.
But also we were in like
everything happens for a reason.
The high volume.
Right place, right time.
Like Honolulu. We were in like high volume. We were at top stores in like the company. And so we had tons of employees. Like it was big. Like we would have like 8 to 10 managers below us. And then we'd have, when I started, like, COVID hit, so things dwindled down. But like when I began, I think we had like 80 to 100 employees.
That's crazy.
So it was
at a
like,
Hollister?
Yeah. It was like high volume.
I mean, that store that she was at made like $3 million a year.
No, when I started, it made 13 million a year. And then it like transitioned down. Like we would be literally doing $20,000 in sales every single day.
That's bizarre.
So like I was used to high volume and managing all of these people, and that management experience like goes into everything now.
Helps you keep organized.
100%. And then also dealing with like the corporate.
Oh yeah.
Because so like we got the full 180 of everything that it was like, it all happens for a reason.
Which I love.
Because certain things matter to different people at certain levels, and you have to know how to talk to them and
And then just dealing with these large amounts of people and different personalities. And yeah, it just all.
Yeah, I remember when I came from the agency to work at Abercrombie, I had all the back end knowledge of like what goes into a business and stuff like that. And the actual just managing people, it was hard. It was really hard. Like
I bet.
I had to like take a step back after a while and like really just accept that I didn't know what I was doing to like be the best I could be and just have to learn. And it's like hard to do that when you're already in a leadership position where you're expected to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it humbles you real quick.
Yeah. So those experiences definitely add to everything.
I love that. Okay. What is a piece of advice you would give to someone that wants to start up a business or is wanting to get into it?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Mine is probably just start practicing and doing whatever it is you want to do. Like, I don't know.
It's hard. It's a hard question.
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot. And I think for me, I would say just make sure you love it. Yeah. Because like all the other things, like you're going to have to work hard and it's going to get really shitty sometimes. Like, where it just sucks. Like it's not what you thought it would. Like it's different to have a hobby and then run it as a business, especially if you're trying to live off of it.
Yeah, make money.
And if you don't love it, you won't make it.
I think it's sometimes hard when you have that hobby. It's like, it's not going to be your hobby anymore. You know, like
you have to love it.
Truly love it. Like, do you like doing it once a month or do you like doing it every day?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the hardest thing.
And like being honest with yourself about that. Yeah. And then like trusting the process, I think is really important too.
Yeah.
Knowing that like there's going to be a lot of progress made. That's not going to feel like progress. It's going to feel like you're
baby
just
steps.
Running in circles, chasing your tail. But one day things will start to click and you'll start to realize how it all works together and you figure it out. You just,
And then hire Film Garage.
Yeah. And then hire
come
us.
help you with your business.
Yeah. And then I guess, mine would be, kind of making sure you love it, but it's something that works for your life.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my whole life to be like revolving around work.
Right.
I want it to be around like my family and friends.
And I think that's what we're starting to transition into nowadays.
It's a big culture shift of doing that.
No, work does not come first.
No.
Family and my life comes first.
This corporate boss is not ruling my life and deciding what I'm posting on social media. Yeah, I'm not letting them affect my entire life now because that's what was happening.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, no, you can't say anything. You need your job.
Like we would literally have to hide our job to our boss because she would come in and be like, I saw this. I don't think you're really committed. And it would be like a trick from our DM to like try and get us out where it was like, what is your problem?
And just be a slave to them.
Because you don't want me to find something else that's going to take me from here.
Correct.
And it was just
I think it definitely
frustrating.
I've had an employer that did that. Yeah. And I found
So we lived with that for the last 6 years.
And it's funny how normal that was for a while.
Yeah, it was kind of normal because it was like, I want this job. I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit. But then when it came to controlling your life, what you do on your off days, no.
Right.
No.
Too far.
Love that. Okay. So to wrap this up, I have one like added question. Okay. What's something you're looking forward to in 2024? This second year of business, what are you, is there any fun projects that you're wanting to do? Or is there anything that you're like wanting to accomplish this year?
Wow. 2024. It's already been off to an awesome start.
19 days in.
It's so great. This 19 days in, we've had so much business and prospects of new business, which is great to see that others are interested in what we're doing.
Yeah. And doing different things. I mean, we're seeing more of a variety of projects coming in. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's inspired by us, but like it's cool just that they're coming to us with these projects now. And
gets to change. You get to be more creative, need different projects, figuring out how to do things, and learning more.
And it's things we've tried.
We grow every project. So I guess some like goals, I guess, would be like our podcast. We want our podcast to continue growing because it's crazy that we've only started it like 2-3 months ago. Like, I can't believe it was only 2 or 3 months ago. It feels like a long time.
It does.
We've gotten so much support.
How many episodes have you guys filmed?
Like
this will be the
29? 25th. No, we've posted like 28.
Yeah, it was like
24 posted.
Really? I thought we had like 28.
Yeah, this will be the 25th.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how cool that how many like business owners you've got.
It's probably because we've done like 3 of our own trying to do this multiple times.
And those have not been seen.
Not working.
No, but it's awesome seeing that other businesses are wanting to like get in on it and like support, and like it makes us feel like they see our potential and how we can help them help each other. Yeah. Help you.
It's been super great.
And then other goals we mentioned already, the film contest. Super hyped for that.
That's going to be a big one this year.
Super big.
Make it bigger,
live
better.
viewing of the top 10.
Yeah. So any local businesses who want to support that, just really, it's more like supporting the creative community. Even if like your business doesn't directly relate, it's like just show your support to the creatives in the area, because this is a thing that needs to be
it would
supported.
Be so much fun, like going.
Like we want to make it like black tie gala event, like where you come and, you know, you have to dress up.
Hey,
and
big time events will sponsor it.
Yeah.
We'll help throw it.
So that would be cool. And then just seeing like just the studio grow and our own personal business. Obviously, we got to make some money. Yeah. We got to survive till October for this contest.
Yeah, you're like, let's do it. Okay, so podcast, film contest.
I think the other thing that's a big one for us this year is classes.
Right. So that teaching other people how to do what you guys do.
Because we're always here when people rent the studio to give them a basic rundown, to show them what things are and how it works. But we have a lot of people who just want to know more in-depth stuff. So,
and I don't feel like there's classes offered here that
just not quite the same.
Yeah. Like sometimes they're online classes, but I feel like sometimes I'm like a visual learner, so I would want to come and like, okay, how does the light work? What is
literally,
like seeing
it's different.
Literally, where's the on
when
button?
When you touch it, because you don't want to look like an idiot in front of your client when you don't know how to move a light. Yeah. So it's like just encouraging people to just come to the studio, use it, practice, get better.
Get out of your comfort zone for a little bit.
Like realize that this is a toolkit for your own personal business. Like we've said, there's 1,000 photographers. There's 1,000 people that can hire these photographers. You don't have to always choose us. So if that's the case, you can come here and add this to your toolkit. It's a nice
resource to help their business.
Exactly.
All working in harmony.
A creative community is what we want. It's not like competition, you know, like we all do different things. We have different abilities.
The city's growing.
Yeah. There's so many people here.
You guys aren't going to be able to do everything.
Exactly. So, we can't do everything. And so it's like just realizing that and using it, because sometimes it seems like you said, people are loyal. So they almost seem kind of like standoffish and just not receptive to it, where I'm like, what's your problem? Like I want to shake them and be like, you don't realize what I'm offering you. Like you are a famous ass photographer and you are literally sleeping on this right now.
Right. Like if I was trying to gatekeep, or like if I had some ulterior motive to this, I wouldn't be letting you openly just come in and use the studio for as long as you wanted. I'm literally
opening my door to you.
Yeah. That just show you how confident I am that like we know what we're doing, that we want to be involved with what you're doing in one way or another, whether it's training you or helping you grow in some way.
I love it.
Yeah.
So the classes should be, we've been really busy, but we've been wanting to do it. We've had people asking for it. And so
that's awesome.
That'll be on this year's agenda.
And we have our casting call coming up. That's not really farther in the year, but February 10th, we have our first casting call.
Yeah, because we thought that would be really cool, because we get all of these like random jobs here and there, and you never know who's going to need a model, who needs the certain person. And so it would be really awesome to have a group of people in our
creating
like regions.
Using Southeast Idaho actors that are wanting to get into that. Voice actors, models.
Which will be happening with Chandler.
Big time talent. So we're super excited. Super excited. So
lots of fun things. Just trying to like
just grow
hit
the
all
creative
the different
community.
Avenues and help everyone grow.
I can't wait till December when I'm looking through all the projects we do this year, because that's what I did last year and it was super fun. So see how we did. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me be on your podcast and
thank you
turn
for
the tables. And
you did a good job hosting.
Thank you so much.
I can do it again next year. We'll do it every year.
We'll do like we can do it every like couple months and do just like updates or something.
I love that.
If we don't feel like being here, we'll just send Chandler in.
We're like, Chandler's filling in. We're out of town and we need to do it. Welcome to the Film Garage 208 podcast.
Nailed it.
Perfect. I nailed the audition.
So I guess just to close it, reminders, follow us. Please subscribe. Like we mentioned, we do this all for free out of the generosity of our hearts and to just meet people and talk to
and
people.
You can learn things from other business owners. If you want to start a business, I have learned some stuff from other business owners. That I never thought I would take advice from.
It just adds personality, and like you learn about these people authentically, and I feel like you just like them more.
So whether you like us or not, it's like this podcast is here for you to learn from. You know?
It's great. Yeah. And you get to know the businesses in your community better.
It's true.
And why they are what they are and why their prices are. I just like it.
Yeah. So make sure and follow, subscribe, all of that to show your support. And then if you want to be a sponsor, reach out for the podcast or for the film contest. We're open to all of it. We're starting now for that.
Love it.
And we are excited for 2024.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So thank you everybody for supporting us. We have heard of just so many random people in town who listen to our podcast. So like Panera, we go there and now they listen to it and they're like, so we listened to this podcast today, and it's transitioned to her dad now listening.
Brandon. I don't have my wallet with his name, with his last name, but Brandon.
Thanks for being a supporter.
Yeah, you know who you are when you hear it.
You know who you are. But we appreciate all the support of just everybody in this community. Yep. And we just hope to just see more.
So
here's the 2024.
Follow, subscribe, all the things. Okay. Share it with your friends.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.